I was a bit slow on my catching up process. Where did we finish?
Just on top of Mem Gimel Amud Aleph.
Mem Gimel Aleph, okay.
Yeah.
Yes, I've only got a bit to do.
Not too difficult.
No.
It's Tolly. Do you know if anybody's still using Kalaloshon? Tolly?
I know. I don't think so. I don't think anybody is. So Yehuda Stern now uses Zoom. He calls in, so I don't think anybody uses it.
Yehuda's on Zoom. I can see his number coming up. 810.
Right. Okay. Kalaloshon, it's the second time we've tried. It's not working. How's everybody?
I know it's been a bit. People aren't very happy with it.
Well, with Kalaloshon, I can't hear something wrong with now. You're looking a bit worse for wear from your beards. Look, it's Chashon, okay.
We all are, yeah.
Friday.
What you have to do is you have to keep it.
Friday we can shave.
You have to keep
Friday
it for.
You can shave.
Okay, you have to keep it for always and let it grow long.
Friday.
Once you have a long beard, that's much better instead of having just tiny.
I thought Friday you can't because it's Rosh Chodesh. You're not supposed to shave on Rosh Chodesh.
You're actually asking a very, very good question. Who's that, Neil? Who just
yeah.
If Shabbos falls on Rosh Chodesh,
you hold of that.
If Rosh Chodesh falls on Shabbos,
it's fine.
But says you're allowed to. Yehuda Chassid says you're not allowed to.
You're allowed to. You are allowed to.
Yehuda Chassid says you're never allowed to. Yehuda Chassid says you're not allowed to, I'm afraid. Mishvur says you are allowed to. So you can ask your rabbi what you want, but I tell you what.
So I asked Rabbi Sofer this afternoon and said that I think Rabbi Moshe and somebody else said that even on this during the Omer when it falls on a Friday, even against Yehuda Chassid, you can still do it, still shave.
You see, the Mishnah says it's okay, so okay.
Yeah.
They think how much schar you're getting every day for keeping the beard long and everything else. It's not comfortable.
You could be matineda, and then you'd have the problem if somebody was keeping the.
Right, getting from something, get into more complicated things. We started last time a Mishnah on that Mem Beis Amud Beis. So we'll have to give a little akdama to what we've done so far. The Mishnah says that if you've got a candle and it is dripping oil, you're not allowed to put a bowl underneath to catch the oil. That's what the Mishnah says. The Rashi straight away on the Mishnah tells us that there are two reasons, they're going to see more, why that should be forbidden. What's wrong with putting a bowl underneath a candle which is dripping? Does anybody want to suggest a reason? What's wrong? You see you've got a Shabbos candle. We started from Daf Mem Gimel Amud Aleph, 6 lines from the top from Rabbi Yosef. But since it is in the middle of a sugya a little bit, not completely middle of a sugya, but you'll get more clarity if we get the basics clear. The Mishnah tells us that if you've got a candle dripping oil, you're not allowed to put a bowl underneath to catch the oil. Why not? So Rashi already tells us there are two fundamental reasons. One reason is the oil which comes from a lamp, which is burning on Shabbos, is muktzah. We actually discussed this once before. Why is it muktzah? Anybody remember why is it muktzah? Why is the oil
separated before Shabbos? For use.
It's designated before Shabbos for burning. It's set aside. So for example, let's say you light with oil candles. On Friday night, your wife puts out a salad. What kind of salad? A cucumber salad. And she says, oh, it's missing a bit of oil. Can she take a little bit of oil from the oil lamp and add it to the cucumber salad? No. That is first of all issa of kiboy. That's issa of putting out the candle. But let's say there's no issa kiboy. Let's, for example, the candle went out by mistake early. So one of your children went and blew it out. So now there's no problem of the candle going out by taking the oil. So are you allowed to take the oil for your cucumber salad? No, it's muktzah. Now, the oil which is dripping from the candle is clearly muktzah. What's wrong with putting a bowl for muktzah? So there's two different cheshbonos. Reason number one is by putting the bowl there, you will never be able to move it again because it's got muktzah inside it. Since you'll never be able to move it again, it's as if you've cemented the bowl to the floor, to the ground, and that's called bitul keli me'echonu. When the person puts something in a way that he can never move it again, you have cemented the keli to another place, and that is forbidden. Another reason is, since the oil is muktzah, you're not allowed to move something for the purpose of muktzah. Came along with Chista, and they said a very similar kind of halacha, that you're not allowed to, if you see your chicken's about to lay an egg, and it's going to roll down the hill, the egg, so you want to quickly put a bowl there to catch the egg, then the halacha is that it's forbidden, and the Gemara explained the reason is, because hatzala shchicha, hatzala which is regular, Chazal permitted, the hatzala which is not regular is forbidden. But Yosef comes along and gives a different pshat in this. Well, as we see, the Gemara will explain more. Says the Gemara that from Gimel Amud 6 lines from the top. Of Yosef Omar, Hanu Tamad Rav Chista Mishum Dekamabatal Keli Me'echon. Because by putting an egg, you see your chicken's about to lay an egg, so you know the egg's going to roll down the hill and smash. Now, an egg on Shabbos is muktzah. Why is an egg on Shabbos is muktzah? Why is it muktzah? Why is an egg on Shabbos? No lad. It never existed before Shabbos came on Shabbos. That is the first mission in Beitza, and it's a big topic there. But every egg that's born on Shabbos is noilad. I was looking at Shuvas of Shemazaman. He says that, unfortunately, people who are stuck in hospital, they often need a catheter. I'm not sure if I'm saying it the right way. So he's got their tshuva as to whether the urine is considered noilad, because there's many halachas. Noilad is a very chomu muktzah. And it's interesting. He says it's not noilad. I'm not a doctor, but he says that what happens is that liquid always existed. It just simply existed first in one form before you drink it, then one form inside your body, and then afterwards is urine. It's not noilad. An egg which is born on Yom Tov is noilad because it didn't exist in its previous form. So an egg is noilad. So if I take a bowl to catch an egg because I'm scared it's going to roll down the hill, so the egg is muktzah. So the keli is now never be allowed to be moved because we know that once you put a muktzah in a keli, you can't move the keli either. So therefore, it's mevatel keli me'echonu.
Even if the egg hasn't fallen in yet.
Right, but you're going. The egg is going to fall in. That's your intention. Since the egg is going to fall in, so if it's mevatel keli me'echonu. I know. I tell you another case where it's very common. And it's not here, but those who have air conditioning. Then what happens is there, Rishon Zaman says it is noilad. All the water that comes out of the air conditioning is noilad because it doesn't exist in its normal form before Shabbos. And then what happens is on Shabbos through the process of air conditioning makes water. Eis ve'abai, chovis shel teva. If you've got a bowl of teva, which is also muktzah because you can't eat it. Shenishbo, maybe keli achim and you can put a keli underneath to catch it all. So again, how can you do that? You're catching muktzah. The halacha is that you're not allowed to take tumas u'maisos on Shabbos because it's mesakin mona. It's like back of a patish or other reasons. You're not allowed to take tumas u'maisos on Shabbos. But it's only asked midrabanan. If a person takes tumas u'maisos on Shabbos, then it is mutter. So therefore, he says that it's not considered properly muktzah because there's a way for you to actually be able to enjoy it. So he asked him a new kasha. If you've got a candle which is giving a lot of sparks off, and since it's giving a lot of sparks off, you're scared that your tablecloth will catch fire. So you put a keli there to catch the sparks. So the halacha is that you're allowed to. Now, how can you do that? Sparks, they are not got any substance, meaning that once the spark falls into the bowl, there's nothing there, and therefore you'll still be allowed to move it. A new question: a beam that breaks. You're allowed to support it with a bench or with the beams of the bed. Now, once you support it, what's going to happen? You're never going to be able to move it again because by doing that, the beams you're supporting the beams in a way that one I haven't understood that you're doing it in a like a locked manner where you won't be able to move them. Answer more the Rafi. The boy is shokile if you want, you can move it, and therefore it's not considered matter kili me'echono, because you can still move it. We're not discussing where you're putting your bed underneath the wall in a way that you'll never be able to move it, but rather you will be able to move it, but you'll be able to move it because it's loose. Says the Gemara. Notice another question. It's one question after the next. Notice in keli tachas hadelef for Shabbos. You're allowed to put a keli underneath a leak. If you've got something dropping in on Shabbos, it's mutter. So how can you do that? It's going to be muktzah, and then you're not going to be able to move the keli. Answers more b'delef for you. We're talking about that which is dripping in is not something which you can't drink. It's something you can drink. For example, it's dripping in clean rainwater. So therefore, it's not muktzah. Since it's not muktzah, therefore, there's no problematic keli me'echon. Furthermore, new question. If you've got very, very little chickens and they can't get into their pen, into the nest, so you want to put a step for them to jump onto the little step, and from that little step, you want to then let them jump into their home, to wherever they live. So that is permitted to do that on Shabbos. And the problem is that all animals are muktzah. All animals are muktzah machmas gufa. This is a very, very big problem for those who own pets. They should be aware, those who have a dog or a cat. Nowadays, there are poskim or meiko. But me'ikah did, all pets are muktzah machmas gufa. You can't use them, so they're muktzah. So therefore, if you've got chickens which are going to jump onto your pot, and from your pot into their nest, the problem is when the pot is there, then you will not be able to move it because the chickens are muktzah. Answers the Gemara, that when the chickens are not on the pot, you'll be able to move. I mean, what happens is, it's only a temporary thing. The problem with the keli me'echanoi is in a situation where you're going to never be able to move it again. But here you put the pot next to the nest, they jump onto the pot, and from there into the nest, therefore, it's not a permanent problem. You're not allowed to move it. Once you put a step for the chickens to jump on, you're never allowed to move it. And it's more we're talking about where the chickens are still on it. If they're not on it, it is awesome. And says the Gemara, and this is a very, very important halacha. That something which is muktzah for min hashmoshes becomes muktzah the entire Shabbos. So if you put a step for the chickens to climb into their nest, and then during the entire bin hashmoshes, they're jumping up and down on it, so therefore the whole bin hashmoshes, you can't move it. Even if later on Shabbos, what happens is the chickens all go away, or they all go in and come off, you're still not allowed to move the pot ever again. Since you can't move it anymore, so it's mugudis katsois. Therefore, that's why it's awesome. But let's say you move it on Shabbos. That means during Shabbos, you move your pot and you bring it next to the nest, and the chickens should be able to climb up and down. Then, while the chicken's on top of the pot, you're not allowed to move it because it's got muks on it. But when the chickens come off, you are allowed to move it. And this same halacha applies for all bosses. So, for example, let's say you've got a table, and on the table you've got candles, and the candles are muktzah. And then what happens is, right for bin hashmoshes, they are there. And even if after bin hashmoshes somebody removes the candles, the table is muktzah. I remember once a very interesting shaila that somebody made a Shabbos for 150 people in Kiryat Sefer. He went to the whole hall. And what happened was he had the exact same chairs, 150 chairs which were exactly the same. All black Keta chairs. And what happened was one woman decided to light her candles on the chair because she had no space on the table. So she put the candlesticks on the chair and she lit the candles. Came along one of the non-Jewish waiters, decided after an hour or so that I was lighting that it is dangerous, and moved the candles off the chair, put the candles somewhere else, and put the chair back on the stack of other chairs. Now that chair, which the candles were on throughout bin hashmoshes, is bosses for the candles. And therefore, since it is bosses for the candles, therefore all that chair is muktzah. And even if the candles have come off, we've just learned, Migudis katzole bin hashmoshes is katzole kol yoma. There are some things muktzah throughout bin hashmoshes, it's muktzah the entire day. So that chair is forbidden to be used on Shabbos. What do you want to say?
Would it count such a thing like when you have a roiv and bitter? What's the word for it?
Very good. What about bitter?
Bittul,
Why
yeah.
does bittul not help us in this situation? Does anybody know? Two reasons. Okay, it's quite complicated. Why does
individual?
Single chair.
It's individual.
So what? You've got
So-
200 individual pieces of meat. Of course, it's mutter. No, it says either because
It's not really mixed.
either because it's davar choshev, something which is choshev is not mutter b'roiv, or because it's a davar sheyesh lo matirin, something which is going to be mutter. According to many shittas, you can't become bottom. So they couldn't use any of the chairs that Shabbos, except they came up with a noida b'Yehuda. I remember the discussion. The noida b'Yehuda says that something which is going to be forbidden. He says that in such a situation one would be allowed because of the fact that by not being able to use it for that part of the day, you will never be able to compensate. It's not davar sheyesh lo matirin, and since regarding all the other chairs, it's not a choshev. It's the individual is matter in such a case. The reason I mention this is because this can be once something is muktzah the whole ben hashmoshes, it is muktzah for the entire day, and therefore if something has a bosses on ben hashmoshes afterwards being removed. Mashenkin, for example, let's say in the middle of Shabbos, somebody takes something like your shechita knife and puts it in the dining room table, and then somebody else removes it. So it's not bosses anymore, because what happened was that during Ben Hashmoshes it wasn't, so now it's not there anymore. So it's Ben Hashmoshes decides whether it's muktzah. Okay. Says the Gemara Rabbi Yitzchak, Kashem, with the Kashem she'en yosim keli tachas hanegeres kabel beitzasa, kach ein krifen elei keli b'shul shlei teshaver. Before we said that you're not allowed to put a cup or bowl to catch the egg they should roll down the hill, but to put a bowl on top of it, not underneath it, on top of it, and nobody should stand on it is okay. But Yitzchak says no, that's forbidden. You can only carry something for something which is permitted to be carried on Shabbos. So, for example, if you've got something which is muktzah on Shabbos, let's say you've got a camera, and the camera is muktzah machas chesankis, and now you've got a plastic bowl. Plastic bowl is not muktzah. You can use it to eat your cereal, to have it. The plastic bowl is certainly not muktzah. So you want to take your plastic bowl to cover your camera. Would that be mutter? According to Rabbi Yitzchak, no. Rabbi Yitzchak says, whenever you carry something, you have to decide why you're carrying it. If you're carrying it to something which is muktzah, you're not allowed to carry it. Because we ask all these lists of questions. All the questions we asked before apply here. For example, taking a bowl to catch the sparks, taking a bowl to catch tevel, taking a bowl for the chickens to jump up and down. All of those cases are all questions, because at the end of the day, you're carrying something for the purpose of which it's permitted to be carried. The shoni b'tzorich where you need it for its place. This is a very interesting halacha. That if you've got something which is muktzah, or any other reason, you need to move it. Once you move it, you're allowed to move it more. This is an interesting halacha, for example. Let's say you've got a hammer, and you want the hammer to be put away. And you've also got nuts that you want to crack. So what you could do is like this. You could pick up the hammer because you need it for cracking your nuts. And then when you finish cracking your nuts, you're not mechuyev to drop it straight away. You can put it down wherever you want to. So also over here, if let's say you've got a camera, and the camera is very precious, you don't want it to get touched. So you want to cover it because it's on the floor, let's say. So you pick up a bowl which you need for its place. Let's say there's a bowl on your couch, and you're trying to sit down, and there's a bowl on your couch, so you need to remove the bowl. Once you take the bowl away for the purpose of its place, then you're allowed to move it for other reason. You're not allowed to carry it. In old days, sometimes you use an egg to cover the pot. I remember learning this for the first time, that if you balance an egg very, very well, it's actually quite strong. So you can use 4 eggs to lift, if let's say your bed is too low, so you want to make your bed a bit higher, so you take 4 eggs and you put them underneath the beams of your legs, of your bed, and if you put it 100% straight, it will carry your weight. So you're not allowed to take an egg to support your bed. Can you imagine doing such a thing? It's a bit risky. You fall asleep. And if you move your bed, you're scared that all your eggs will start cracking and you have scrambled eggs all over the floor. But you're not allowed to. Why? Because it's muktzah. You're allowed to put a keli on it in order that it shouldn't break. Clearly, not like a Yitzchak. We need it for its place and for its mutter. You're allowed to spread mats on stones on Shabbos. The stones in the olden days, or even nowadays, if you've got, let's say, building going on in your in your house, extension, let's say, and you put the stones there, and suddenly it comes Shabbos, and you see it's about to rain, and the rain is going to ruin your bricks or your stones. So what do? It's going to ruin your stones. So you want to put a mat over it. So the halacha is allowed to. Now the stones are muktzah. So you see that you're allowed to carry something for the sake of muktzah. That's what about avodim mekuzolis. Sharp stones. The chaz in the base of kiss in old days, when you need to go to the bathroom, you used to use sharp stones to wipe yourself. So therefore, these stones are not muktzah. Toshima, person bricks b'Shabbos, and those are not used to wipe. You want to use as bricks. You only use stones. As modish time binyan that were left over from a building, the chazal misgalayu, people use them to sleep on. So since using them to sleep on, it's okay. If you've got a beehive, and when it's summer or in the heat, you're scared that the sun will drive away the bees, or in the winter or when it's a rainy day, you're scared that the rain will ruin the beehive, you're allowed to put a mat over, even though the beehive is muktzah. So therefore we see clearly not like a bitzchok. Actually, it's common lotzot. You have to be careful when you put the mat over not to do seder. It's a very, very famous taz, one of the most famous taz in Hilchos Shabbos. That those days, people had a lot of flies around the bin. The taz asks the kasha, are you allowed to close your bin on Shabbos? Let's say you've got one of these bins with a lid. When you close the lid, are you allowed to close it on Shabbos? Because maybe there's flies in your bin, and maybe you're hunting seder. Anybody know this taz? What does the taz say? Does anybody know what the taz talks about? What's the gist of the taz? Taz talks about it like this, where if there would be a fly there, it will definitely be trapped. But you don't know if there's a fly. Now we know
enough to trap it where you could catch it. It could still keep running away from you.
No, because we're talking about a bin which is not that big. But once it's trapped in the bin, you can easily get it. You're right. If it's a very big bin, then if you've got a very fly in a very big bin, even after you close the bin, it's still not trapped because you can't get the fly. You try and catch a fly in a big bin, you'll never catch it. To a smaller bin. We pass the dover shel miskaven. If you're not intending to do something, it is mutter. What's the exception? When is dover shel miskaven also? If it's a psikration, if it's definitely going to happen. If it's definitely going to happen, it's forbidden. Here, if there's a fly there, it's definitely going to be trapped. But you don't know if there's a fly there. So is a sofek if something's going to happen. That means if there's a fly, or definitely be psikration trapped. If there's no fly, you may not trap it. There's nothing to trap. Is that considered psikration? That is the very famous taz. Psikration lemafreya, where only backwards can you find out afterwards if it was psikration. That is the shayla of the taz. Again, here we're talking about somebody wants to stop the rain or the sun disturbing the beehive. So he puts a mat over it. So the halach is allowed to do it as long as he doesn't hunt, as long as he doesn't trap. And we're talking about when there's honey. Since there's honey, so it's not the tzerich muktzah, it's the tzerich honey which is not muktzah. That's okay. Top of them giving on the base. In the summer, the beehives only produce honey in the summer. In the winter, there's no honey. As well, what would happen is, to have a good beehive, you would always leave a bit of honey there, 2 loaves of bread for honey, 2 loaves of honey, not 2 loaves of bread, 2 loaves of honey, which you leave in the beehive. I've never actually run a beehive, but I dare say, if anybody here ever run a beehive? No? Go family crew, you don't have a beehive in your house? Come on, you've got chickens and you don't have...
I don't have a beehive. I think you have to leave the honey for the bees to live.
Oh, very good.
The winter.
No, that's what Rashi says. I was hoping somebody would have first-hand experience about this. I'm surprised that you don't have any beehives in your house. I'm sure your wife and children would love to have bees roaming around your house. You'll give you a very quiet... Everything will keep out of the room. The kids, you have to leave loads of honey inside for the winter. So there's always honey in the beehive. Since there's always honey in the beehive, therefore it's never considered only for muktzah. So when I bring my mat to cover it, I'm doing it for both. They're muktzah because you don't want to use them. Why do you put the honey there for the bees? You're never going to eat them. So therefore, it's muktzah. You set aside the bees. You decided that you're going to one day eat the meats. If you've got honey in the beehive, which is set aside for the bees, it's muktzah. If you're thinking to yourself, if I get hungry this Shabbos, I'm going to eat that honey. So that's mutter. It's like what we had once. Person that says sells towels. If he thinks before Shabbos, so all the towels are muktzah. If he thinks before Shabbos, if I need a towel, I'll use one of my towels, which I'm about to sell, it's all muktzah. Says, whoa, if you don't think about it, what's it in Osa? Why does it say, as long as you have no intention to trap, talk about the same case. Only when you thought about it to eat the honey. Even if you intend to eat the honey, and therefore it's not muktzah, or actually is kavan as long as you don't intend to hunt. He doesn't hold on muktzah, and therefore it doesn't matter whether there's honey or there's no honey. If it's shittas Rabbi Yehuda, could be kavan my hava, even if you've got no intention of trapping. It doesn't mean you've got no intention to trap. That you should leave a space. And what happens is you should leave a space that the bees can escape. Doesn't mean that you shouldn't intend to trap. Rather, when you cover it with a mat, you should do it in a way that is not trapping. And how is it not trapping? That you should leave a space. Let me show you the Rashba. The Rashba says, the Rashba says, how much of a space does it need to have that it's not considered trapped? Enough for one bee to escape, because if one bee can escape, so one bee will escape, the next bee will escape, the next bee will escape. You don't need to have. And he says a vibe from over here, that even though when I put the mat over, 99% of the bees are trapped, but 1% is not, that's enough to be considered that it's not a proper trapping. He said it's interesting, many times you've got a halacha where you do something and you're not sure if it's going to do it. So that's not considered trapping. One bee can escape, so therefore they can all escape without roots. So you should send a mitzvah the dish with a if you have a space they should be trapped. Does it say in the summer, in the winter? It says bechama in the sun because of the sun. Or again, there's more kasha before was. In the summer, it's very nice as honey. In the winter, there's no honey. If there's no honey, so therefore, what does it say that you're allowed to cover it because of the honey? But there is no honey in the winter. And what did we have to answer that we're talking about where you put 2 loaves of honey there? And then we had a kasha, what about muktzah? So Rashi, you don't need to come into all these complications. We're not talking about summer or winter. We're talking about Nisan and Tishri, like now, where it's possible one day for it to be a lot of sun. Right? We had a few days of very hot sun, and one day to have a lot of rain. So therefore, every time you're covering it, sometimes it's because of the sun, sometimes because of the rain. But it's not meaning in the summer or the winter. We're talking about in Tishri and Nisan time where there is honey and there is sun and rain. So now, we had a few shittas over here. The Mishnah told us we're not allowed to put a bowl underneath to catch the honey. To catch the oil which is dripping. We had a Yitzchak who says that you're not allowed to ever move anything muktzah. We actually, I should tell you from the start, we do not pass like a Yitzchak, which will give you a nice big color. So for example, mentioned before, according to Rabbi Yitzchak, if you've got a camera and you want to take a non-muktzah item to cover a muktzah item, according to Rabbi Yitzchak, muta asa. What's the thing according to Rabbi Yitzchak?
Asa.
Asa. Yitzchak says it's asa. But we don't pass like a Yitzchak. So you are allowed to. So what are you not allowed to? So when the Mishnah says you shouldn't take the bowl to catch the oil dripping, it's not because you're carrying a non-muktzah item, a muktzah item, which is asa. Rather, it's because of vata keli mechana, which we do pass. So the Gemara says, "Omer Rav Sheshes Puku v'Omer Rav Yitzchak Gan Rav Yitzchak Tigma v'Huna Nishmaitzich v'Bava." Rav Huna already said you halach bava. So Rav Huna is mechitz in a mace b'shul chai. V'Huna is mechitz in a mace b'shul mace. You're allowed to make a covering, a mechitza, a what's good word for mechitza, a wall, a partition for the dead, only for alive people, not for dead people. Mahi. What does that mean? You've got a dead person, unfortunately, lying in a hot place, and if he's lying in the hot place, chas v'shalom, he will start to smell. Two people come and sit. They sit on the side of the dead person. After sitting there, they start feeling hotter and hotter. So what do? So Chamla gets hot from below. They may be So they bring like a bed. In those days, they used to sit on beds. It means a chair. So they're sitting on the floor next to the dead person. It's too hot, so they bring a chair to sit on, or a bed to sit on. And then it gets too hot from above. So what do? They bring a mat, a person, and they spread it over the two of them because it's too hot. The sun's beating down on them. So he lifts up his bed to make it like a barrier of a nishmat, and he leaves. And this way you made a partition for a dead person. There's quite a lot of background over here. I'll try to explain as much as I can like this. A dead person is lying in the sun. There are two big problems over here. One problem is the problem of Rav Yitzchak, which we do not pass tonight. A mace is considered muktzah. It's muktzah machnas gufoi. Muktzah machnas gufoi is anything which cannot be used as muktzah machnas gufoi, right? Anything which cannot be used. A broken piece of glass is muktzah machnas gufoi, can't be used. A dead person cannot be used. It's also bad. No, you can't use a mace, therefore it's muktzah machnas gufoi. But you want to cover him. So one problem is bringing something which is not muktzah to cover a muktzah item is forbidden. Another problem is that the only way to really protect him is to build a tent. Now, building a tent on Shabbos is awesome. Minat Torah, it's only awesome if it's something kavua, established, something which is going to last. Here, it's a temporary tent. A temporary tent is only awesome midrabanan. Now, midrabanan, it is mutter if you build it the wrong way. What is the wrong way? How do you normally build a house? Does anybody know? You start with the walls and then you build the roof. I've rarely seen people build a roof and then afterwards build the walls. I don't think it's possible. So
Moshe Rabbeinu did it by the Mishkan the other way around.
He did the Kelim, then the Mishkan, not the other way around. You're mixing up the Kelim and the Mishkan. That's the furniture, then the house.
The tachash on top and then build the walls, the kroshim.
That's not Rashi or thing. There is, you're right, now that you mentioned, I'm sorry, you're right. There is a medrash that he held up the curtains and only afterwards built the kroshim. It's a medrash. No, it's not Posham, Posuk. Okay, you're right, I take it back. There is a medrash that indeed Moshe Rabbeinu held the roof up and then only afterwards built the walls. Okay, I thought you meant the Betzalel, the difference between the furniture. Anyway, so a temporary dwelling is only also midrabanan. If you build a temporary dwelling the wrong way, that is roof first, then the barrier, then the walls, for the sake of a dead person, it is mutter. Now, really, when a person is hot on Shabbos, he's allowed to bring the chair with him lechatchila, or he's allowed to bring with him a mat lechatchila. Here, what we do is, in order to show as much as possible that you're not doing it for the dead person, what we do is we tell the people who are alive to sit next to the dead body and then get hot. Once they are hot, they bring a chair to sit on or a bed to sit on. By doing that, then they're showing clearly they're not doing it for the dead person because they didn't bring the chair out originally. They waited until they got so uncomfortable, then they brought the bed to sit on. So therefore, by doing that, they're showing they're doing it for the sake of the alive, not for the dead. Afterwards, they wait until they get hot from above, and then they bring a mat to protect them from the sun above. Once they do that, they've done two advantages. One is they've shown they're doing it for the live, not for the dead. So it's not like you're carrying muktzah for muktzah. You're not carrying something for muktzah, you're carrying something for heta. And second of all, they build first the walls and then first the machzeles, because what they do is like this. They go outside, they bring the chairs, then they put a mat over their heads, and as they're leaving, they lift up the chairs because now they're used of the chairs and they leave. So when they lift up the chairs, as they're building the barriers after they've already set up the ceiling. Now, since we talked about that person, talk a little bit more about it. What you do is you want to bring him from the sun into the shade. So you bring a bed and you roll him from one bed to the next until he gets into the shade. You put on him a loaf of bread or a tinok, which is not muktzah. You're allowed to then carry him. Says the Gemara. When you've got a child of bread without any trouble, that's the best way. He figured the less day where it's very difficult to get it. Ma'asava tiltul min hatzad shmei tiltul, tiltul min hatzad is shmei tiltul, and therefore it is forbidden. Ma'asava lo shmei tiltul, and it is mutter. This is a very big shaila. Tiltul min hatzad. Many times, what happens is, let's say, for example, you do have a camera lying on your floor, and you don't want any of your children to stand on it. So what you do is you take, let's say, a hanger, and you knock the camera underneath your couch, underneath your bed. So that's called tiltul min hatzad. So machlekas tiltul min hatzad is actually a double machlekas, whether tiltul min hatzad is mutter, and what is considered tiltul min hatzad. But either way, this would be a case of tiltul min hatzad.
Sorry, which is better? Sorry, is shinoi or tiltul min hayad better? Which one would be the third? You need to move something.
I'm almost 100% sure that Shinu is better, but if you text
Tiltul min hatzad is a shinoi.
yeah, but Shinu would be, let's say, moving your camera with your elbow. That's Shinui. Tiltul min hatzad would be to move the camera with a hanger. Tiltul min hatzad means you're touching it through something else, right? Tiltul min hatzad, you're touching it through something else. Shinu is you move it with your elbow, or let's say you kick it, right? That is a shinu. Normally you don't kick your camera, that's called a shinu. Mishmor does talk about it. As far as I remember, shinu is better. You text me later, I think. It says, well, if there's a fire and there's a dead person in the house, you're not allowed to save it. Because it's muktzah, and you're not allowed to sit to a bonnet. You're allowed to. We've got an option to do it through a child or something. Why is it awesome? Why is it mutter? And therefore it's awesome. We're talking about tiltul min hatzad, and machlekes with tiltul min hatzad is mutter awesome. Look. The kulama tiltul min hatzad shmei tiltul. It is awesome. Top of memdalad on aleph. You might come to put it out the fire. That means in certain cases, and more talks about other cases, where we allow you to do one Issa D'Rabbanan because you may come to do something even worse. If Chas v'Shalom, a person got a dead person in the house, and we don't allow him to carry muktzah to carry the dead person out, what might he come to do? He might come to put out the fire, which is Issa D'Oraisa. So therefore, we allow him to take out the dead to be able to save him from Issa D'Oraisa. That's the halacha. And that's indeed M'chaber Paschas. If there's a fire, we'll allow you not just carry a mace. Other Yisrael we'll see. And then the Beiruvin and other places, the more discusses certainly teilim of that the person's bohol, a person's very scared, and therefore we allow you certain Yisrael. The Mishnah says, you're not allowed to enjoy the oil which is in your candle. Obviously, we talk about a case where the candle's out, so there's no issa of kibbutz. You're not going to put it out. Let's say you lit a candle on Shabbos, oil candle, and it got blown out, and now you want to use some of the oil. So the Mishnah is awesome. The leftover oil in the candle, the shviko in the bowl, awesome. Rabbi Shimon permits it, as we've said many times. Rabbi Shimon does not hold a muktzah, and therefore he says it's mutter. Says the Mishnah. Today's daf, by the way, is Mem Dalet. Am I right? Yeah, today's daf is Mem Dalet. So a bit, okay. We've got actually one or two shorter dafim coming up. Oh, today's daf maybe. Metal says the Mishnah, you're allowed to carry a new candle, not an old candle. In the olden days, they used to have these earthenware candles, which once it burned, it became very, very mos. And therefore, it was muktzah masmiur. Something which is mos is not allowed to touch. Anybody else know another place where it comes up that the halacha, that the candles of earthenware would become very, very mos? Where else it comes up? Mechaber says in Hilchos Chanukah that if you use an earthenware candle for your menorah, you shouldn't use it for the next day because it's mos. Shimon holds it doesn't hold a muktzah, so there's no problem with muktzah. But one which is carrying on Shabbos, it's forbidden. Why is it forbidden to carry a candle on Shabbos if it doesn't hold a muktzah? So we'll see. But one poshta reason would be that carrying a candle, often it goes out, right? So if you have to be careful, you're not allowed to carry a candle because it might go out, but not because of muktzah. We'll see. Except for a candle which was already lit on Shabbos. So again, let's go through each one of them. Rabbi Yehuda says you're not allowed to carry an old candle. Why? Because he holds a muktzah machmas mius. Anything which is off-putting is muktzah. Rameir says you're all allowed to carry. Why? Because he doesn't hold a muktzah machmas mius. But why are you not allowed to carry a candle which was burning on Shabbos? Because even though he does not hold a muktzah machmas mius, he holds a muktzah machmas issa, which is more chomer, something which was forbidden. I mean, when the Hashmoshes came in, this candle was burning, so it's muktzah machmas issa. So again, Rabbi Yehuda holds a muktzah machmas mius. Rameir holds a muktzah machmas issa. Rabbi Shimon doesn't hold of that, all that, and he holds you're allowed to carry all candles. Which candle you're not allowed to carry is one which is actually burning at the time. But a bowl or a lamp or a cup, you shouldn't move them, and we'll explain later why. Even when the candle is burning, you're allowed to. No, so when it's out, then you're allowed to take from the actual lamp itself, from the bowl where the candle was burning. When it's dripping, then you're allowed to take from the bowl underneath where it's dripped onto. Omar Abai. He holds like his father Rabbi Shimon one, and he argues with him one. Must remember, Rabbi Loza was the son of Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai. They learned together in the cave like we learned earlier. So Rabbi Loza was the son of the Tana of Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai. It says Abai holds like his father Rabbi Shimon. What's the famous shit of Rabbi Shimon? Rabbi Shimon holds that muktzah is mutter. So Rabbi Loza Rabbi Shimon holds like his father in one, argues with him one. So someone look at Rabbi Choda, the less lay muktzah. He doesn't hold the muktzah. Only if it went out. But if it didn't go out, it is awesome. Even if it didn't go out, you're allowed to get pleasure. Why? Because he's not choshesh of the fact that a person might put out the candle by carrying it. Why are these different? Why are these also to be moved? If he doesn't hold a muktzah, let him move a bowl, etc. The sefer which says you're not allowed to move a bowl or a cup, that's just as Rabbi Yehuda holds a muktzah, which obviously is the question. The question is obvious. That how does it fit in? Why does it say aval but, as if this is something which is different to the previous halacha? It's not but. This is a new halacha that it's mashma that normally the others would be mutter. This is also according to him, all candles are also. If it's Rabbi Yehuda, it's not these, but these are also. Rabbi Yehuda holds of all things are muktzah. Again, his das is on him that he thinks that I'll be able to use it. These which are very big, not. That means when you've got a little candle, Rabbi Shimon thinks to himself that you're not really setting your mind away from it. Why? Because you think to yourself, eventually the candle will go out. In those days, they used to use bowls for candles. So I think to myself, if I don't have this, I'll eventually get something else, etc. That means if I need a bowl, I've got the bowl ready. So the candle's burning now, later the candle will go out. If you've got a very, very big lamp, which is going to burn and burn and burn the whole Shabbos, then it is also. Well, Tanya, Moisa Shimon Mate is mashed with his mate even by a bowl which was very, very, very big. There's two kinds of bowls. There are bowls which are very big and the bowls which are very small. A small bowl which you think is going to eventually the candle will go out. So then what happens is you're not setting aside. A very big bowl which you think is going to last for a long time. Sometimes you go to Shabbos and what happens is you see a candle which is burning for 7 days. So what happens is your mind switches off. You think to yourself, that's something which I'm not going to be touching. If you've got a little candle on a thing, you think to yourself, later maybe I'll use the candle for something else. Okay, let's carry on. I've still got a bit more time. Pamoit is a metal candle which doesn't get smelly right? It doesn't get, it's like a candlestick from Mutot in the Noshel Gedei's thing. Shedlikeboy b'Shabbos. That you lit it on Shabbos. The one who comes from Miller says it's mutter because he holds that the Yoshon is mutter because it doesn't hold on Muksa Machnas Mius is also. Because over here, there's no problem with Machnas Mius, there's a problem with Machnas Issa. The Divya Issa, the one who says it's forbidden. Because he holds that Muksa Machnas Mius mutter. Here it's mutter because it's only Muksa Machnas Issa. That means he holds, whoever holds on Muksa Machnas Mius does not hold of the other. We just said there are two different kinds of muksas over here. Muksa Machnas Mius and Muksa Machnas Issa. Muksa Machnas Mius is something which is off-putting. Muksa Machnas Issa is because there's an Issa involved. He understands that if you hold of one, you don't hold of the other. So if you hold that the old earthenware candle is Muksa Machnas Mius, so this is a new one, so not a new, a metal one, which is not a problem of Mius, it's only a problem of Issa, so that if you hold of Mius, you don't hold of this, and if you don't hold of Mius, you hold of this. Remember that Muksa Machnas Mius Islay, Muksa Machnas Issa Leste? Do you think that Yehuda holds a Muksa Machnas Mius, but not Muksa Machnas Issa? Any candle you're allowed to, except for a candle which you lit on Shabbos. Once you lit it on Shabbos, it is also because it's Muksa Machnas Issa. And it's Mochet, everybody agrees. That means if you've got a candlestick which it's been lit the Shabbos, everybody holds it's also. Whether you hold the Muksa Machnas Mius, which is Shittas Rabbi Yehuda, he also holds Muksa Machnas Issa. And according to Rabbi Meir, who holds a Muksa Machnas Issa, it's definitely also. But if you haven't lit, it is mutter. That is in the olden days. But what would happen is a candlestick would sometimes be used for other things. So therefore, a candlestick, a metal candlestick, does not become off-putting if you lit it on Shabbos. So, sorry, if you lit it before Shabbos. Therefore, the only problem is Muksa Machnas Issa. But let's say you've got a candlestick which you haven't lit. So according to this, you'd be allowed to move it on Shabbos because it's not Muksa. Nowadays, our candlesticks are only used for lighting candles. And therefore, our candlesticks are Muksa even if you have not lit it on Shabbos. Let's say you've got spare candlesticks which you have not lit. They are Asa because nowadays they would use the candlesticks for other things to support a table, etc. But Moshe's got a tshuva, for example, that even candlestick tray, if you only ever use the candlestick tray just for your candlesticks and for nothing else, then that is also muktzah, even if you haven't lit anything that Shabbos. Because it's miyuchat for that. Something which is designed, which you set aside specifically for Issa, is also awesome. A bed, like which you set aside to put your money inside, like a desk or something, which you put your money like a safe. You're not allowed to carry. You're allowed to carry a new candle, but not an old one. Why not an old one? Because it smells. A new candle you're allowed to. So therefore, you see that even though the candle is set aside for lighting, it is mutter. Not like you, which is said that a bed which is set aside for money is awesome. Oh, it says more down base, more explains it. Top of down base. Which is made for lighting. A bed which is not made just for your money. And it's a kavachayma, it should be muktzah. Again, a candle we just said is not muktzah. A new candle is not muktzah because it's not muktzah machnas mios. Even though everybody knows what's a candle used for, only for lighting. Masha'in kin a bed which is made for other things, and you're saying now it's muktzah even though you never actually use it for money. And then hiniach alei mois also the tartelo. Lo hiniach alei mois muter the tartelo. But lo yichtel mois. But if you didn't set aside for money, yesh alei mois. While there's money on it, also the tartelo. Ein alei mois muter the tartelo. Vush lo yehoyo alei bin hashmoshes. As long as it was not there bin hashmoshes. If it was there bin hashmoshes, then once it's there bin hashmoshes, then it is muktzah for the entire. Because if you've got, for example, a wallet is always muktzah. Let's say you've got a bedside table. On top of your bedside table, you put all your muktzah things. And then after bin hashmoshes, somebody comes and removes it. It is muktzah for the whole Shabbos, since it was set aside for the whole Shabbos. I'm going to stop here because even though...
You still use the bedside table to store other things.
Oh, it depends. As I said, it depends if you've got a lot of valuable things, but that's the main usage for it. Then that's yes. Okay, we'll carry on from here tomorrow. Actually, tomorrow's daf is Mem Hey, and it's don't say very, very short word, is that it says in Shiur, Hashem comes jumping over the mountains and skipping over the hills. So the famous Medrash, the Medrash says that HaKadosh Baruch Hu said to Klal Yisrael that it's time for your Yeshua to come. Time for your Yeshua to come. So what did Klal Yisrael say to HaKadosh Baruch Hu? They said to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, there's all kinds of problems with the Yeshua coming. It has been 400 years. We were told to go to Messiah 400 years. We've only been 210 years. And there were many different problems that came up. And one of the reasons Klal Yisrael said that we can't be saved is that they said the whole of Eretz Mitzrayim is full of our Avodah Zarah. It's full of Avodah Zarah. And since we've done so much Avodah Zarah, we're not deserving. So Shmuel said to them, Hashem, I'll jump over the mountains of Avodah Zarah that you have done, over the hills, meaning that when HaKadosh wants to save Klal Yisrael, he's willing to forgive and forget and ignore all the averos they have done. So Moshe Mekupin says, right, that he was one of the big Chassidish Rebbes, wasn't so famous nowadays, but he was a big Talmud of my Medrash and others. And he says like this, that you see from this Medrash, that many times HaKadosh wants to bring a Yeshua. And we think to ourselves, how can Hashem bring a Yeshua? We're not deserving of it, we've done this wrong, we've done that wrong. And what HaKadosh says to us is, you look at it from your perspective. From my perspective, I want to save you. If I want to save you, then it makes no difference whatsoever whether you're deserving, whether you're not deserving, etc. And that's what the Pasuk has been with Samuel teaching us. HaKadosh says to Klal Yisrael, you think that you don't deserve it, and therefore you've got all kinds of reasons. But HaKadosh can skip and ignore all the reasons that we shouldn't deserve. We have to remember that HaKadosh love for us is much, much, much greater than our own love for ourselves. And many times a person feels that he's not so loving to himself, not so special, not so good. You have to remember that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, even if a person doesn't feel deserving of love, HaKadosh Baruch Hu does. It's a very important message that the person can feel that they're not doing things well enough. You have to remember that we might think so, but HaKadosh Baruch Hu himself is a lot more loving than we are. Nasacha, everybody got anything to tell me? Everybody okay? Is everybody all right? Any good news? I don't know, is any good news happening? I went to Heaton Park today. It was very, very nice. It's a beautiful park. I don't know what the regulations are about going further afield, but it's a beautiful, beautiful park.
Yeah, it's quite full though. Loads of people go there.
Yeah, a lot of you, mostly Heaton, yes. Okay, it's full. It's true. I went very late in the day. I went about 5, 6-ish. I don't know what time. Yeah. Anybody got any other places to go to? Nice, fresh for the family? No. Is everybody all right? How's everybody feeling? Okay. Said, okay, I wish I had tzlacha with everything. So look forward to Mitzvah tomorrow, 8 o'clock. We're going to catch up now because that's finished Pesach and all the things. So we're going to try and stick to a daf a day, except for the fact that on Shabbos still there's no shiur. So every day we're going to do a little bit more than a daf. Till now I'm going a bit faster because of it. But the shorter daf, we should be okay. With no time, we'll catch up. Okay, tzlacha with everything. Have a very good night.
Shkoyach, thank you.
Any questions? You can text me. Somebody asked me about Mutzah. What's better, the Shinui or Brachayad?
Just go back to what we were talking about making a roof before making the walls.
Yeah.
Isn't that a problem some people have with putting up a folding table on Shabbos?
Right.
You're making a
folding table is not on Shabbos. The reason is
only if you do
a folding table is not on Shabbos because it's not really. It's not tent. Is it tent? As far as I remember, it's.
So you have to do it a certain way. Yeah, for the.
Oh, so maybe you hold up the table, then you pull out the legs. What's the other way to do it? How else could you do a folding table?
You on
the
side.
upside down, and open the legs out, and then turn it over.
Ah, I hear.
Then you'll be. I don't remember. Very good.
Very good. I hear. That would be a good point. Yes. I don't know about that.
Okay, right. Have a good evening.
Have a very good evening. Let's start with everything.
Yeah.
Where is she? Are you on? Your daughter's on, but
I'm jumping on now.
okay, so you'll sort it out.
I will.
Thank you.
Shkaya Yehuda.
Good night, Levi.
Ah.